How Christopher Nolan's historical epic became a breakout hit. Let's break down Oppenheimer Budget. We are a whole month removed from the Oppenheimer and Barbie mega hit, Barbenheimer. Typically, two high-profile blockbusters like this releasing on the same weekend isn't a great thing, as it usually means that one of the two films could lose potential audience members to the other. That proved not to be the case for the opening weekend of Oppenheimer and Barbie, as the unique combination of nuclear radiation and pink plastic made for one of the biggest box office weekends in film history. The admitted winner of that weekend is certainly Barbie, which is already one of the highest-grossing films of the year. Greta Gerwig's critical and financial hit rollerbladed past its reported budget of $145 million, with a worldwide gross of over $300 million in its first weekend, giving Gerwig the new record for highest weekend box office for a film directed by a female filmmaker. The rampant success of the film is a much-needed success for theater and the box office, given the unprecedented financial failures of The Flash and Indiana Jones and The Dial of Destiny, both of which are all but confirmed to be box office bombs. Christopher Nolan has assembled one of the largest star-studded casts he's ever worked with to tell the story of nuclear physicist Robert J. Oppenheimer properly, and it's all led by a veteran of Nolan's filmography. Since being cast as Scarecrow in the Dark Knight trilogy, BAFTA nominee Cillian Murphy has worked with Christopher Nolan a few times, appearing in Inception and Dunkirk. Other significant supporting characters include Emily Blunt as Kitty Oppenheimer, Matt Damon as Leslie Groves, Robert Downey Jr. as Louis Strauss, and Florence Pugh as Jean Tatlock. In July 2022, Variety reported that Blunt, Damon, and Downey were paid $4 million apiece for their roles in the film, which is less than they are typically paid, which typically is around $20 million. Given that Cillian Murphy is the lead of the film, we can assume that he was probably around the $20 million mark. Also in the film are other recognizable figures like Alden Ehrenreich, Jason Clarke, Kenneth Branagh, David Krumholtz, Alex Wolff, Matthew Modine, Dane DeHaan, David Dastmalchian, Josh Peck, Jack Quaid, and more, making it so the budget must be at least half the film's reported $100 million budget, if not more so. According to Christopher Nolan, Oppenheimer has zero CGI effects within it whatsoever. We don't know exactly how that's possible in a film all about the creation and testing of the atomic bomb, but impressive practical effects like that don't come cheap. Digital effects cost a pretty penny as well, but there's a reason why Hollywood studios have generally strayed away from practical effects in favor of CGI. Considering the cast list is already massive and star-studded, the VFX budget likely makes up most of, if not all of, the rest of the budget. With the cast and visual effects likely taking up the vast majority of the budget, Oppenheimer takes full advantage of its limited filming locations. Most of the movie takes place in the deserts of New Mexico, which is likely a pretty cheap location to film in. Turns out, releasing the same weekend as Barbie was the best publicity Oppenheimer could have possibly asked for. The viral Barbenheimer sensation led to both films getting incredible publicity, and it didn't cost Warner Bros., Discovery, or Universal Pictures a single dime. The average marketing budget for a blockbuster close to this size typically ranges from $65 million to $200 million. It's rare that a marketing budget exceeds that of the production budget, so Oppenheimer's marketing campaign is likely somewhere between $65 million and $100 million. The total budget for Oppenheimer reportedly adds up to $100 million. With that in mind, Oppenheimer needed to make at least $200 million at the box office to break even. To be considered a resounding success, Oppenheimer needed to make somewhere around $400 million.